Hi guys, welcome back to the Home Life with Rebecca. Happy Monday. So I just wanted to make a little sit and chat for you all. Hope everybody had a good weekend. We went to Rexburg Rapids. We used a gift card from my dad that he has sent us for Christmas. I had hung on to it because we were going to use it for the trampoline park again, but I decided to go ahead and use it for the water park, and we had a really good time. I got a little bit sunburned, but we were there for about 3.5 hours, and I think all the kids had a lot of fun. The only one that didn't go was my daughter Allison. She ended up backing out at the last minute, but it was still a really good time. And we barbecued some hot dogs on Sunday night with some friends. No, Saturday night, and we went to church yesterday. And Adam won a gift card at Amanda's to the Outback Steakhouse, and he won a gift certificate to the movies also. So me and Adam had a date last night. We went to the Outback and had dinner, just me and him, and we decided to save the movies for another time because they gave us tickets to the movies and they gave us money to use at the concession stand. And so I didn't want to do everything at once, because if we're gonna go to the movies, I want to get popcorn or candy or something, and I was stuffed after we ate at the Outback. So we had a really good weekend, and it was a pretty good week last week. I did manage to get some back to school shopping done, just very minimal stuff, at least for like the first week of school. Got them some back to school shoes at Kohl's, some Famous Footwear. I had some coupons and just a lot of wrangling with the budget and stuff to get the kids shoes. In fact, Adam just took Wesley over to Famous Footwear right now to exchange some because they were not the correct size. So there's that. So all the kids were covered. I didn't have to buy Parker his shoes. He bought his own. And Kennedy didn't need shoes because I bought her some tennis shoes. They're Skechers. They're from, I want to say, Costco. I bought her some at the very beginning of the summer, and I did not let her wear them. And she also is the only one that I don't have to get any clothes for, because I bought her like 3 outfits, like shorts with matching shirts for the summer and a couple dresses meant for the summertime, but we really haven't gone anywhere, so she hasn't worn any of them. So I'm just like, well, we waited this long, she can just wear them for back to school. And Allie and Tiffany, I gave them a budget of $40 for their shoes, but because they also work, they went way over, and so they paid me back the difference. So they bought half of their shoes, so it worked out really well. And like I said, the older kids have been buying things here and there. I know they went to the Goodwill store, the 3 older ones, just Allie and Parker went to Goodwill, and they bought themselves like a whole bunch of shirts and pants and stuff from the Goodwill. And my daughter Tiffany, my 14-year-old, she has that Shein, I think it's called. It's like the clothing app, and I guess prices are really good on there, and she's bought herself like a backpack from there and a few other things. So really I only need to get like Wesley and Jillian like some jeans, and I did get Wesley a pack of white t-shirts because that's all he ever wears. And I'll probably get Jillian a couple shirts, and they will be ready for school. And after we get caught up with stuff, then they can start getting some more school supplies and stuff that they need. So I was just thinking though about what I wanted to talk about, and that kind of ties into, I feel like we've been, at least me and my husband, have been pretty stressed out about money, because he makes about $21 an hour, and I don't work. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I have 6 kids living at home. All of them have different sort of like disabilities and mental health issues, so I'm constantly running to appointments and things like that. So it's almost impossible for me right now to get a job, and I also like to be at home for my kids when they need me. I think it's important. I know some people choose to work, and that's fine. I'm not putting that down. I just feel like with where my kids are right now, it's important for me to be in the home. We do get some SSI for Kennedy that that helps in our income. And then I make a tiny, I mean, like, we're talking anywhere from $5 to, on a good month, maybe $50 a month on YouTube. I don't make much on here. So usually we're very, very careful with our budget. With that being said, he did get a settlement like a year and a half ago, and we paid off all of our credit cards. I mean, we didn't have a ton, but we paid them off, and we also paid off our car so that we had no car payment, and we bought the house, so we had the down payment on the house. So I felt like that money we spent very wisely. I don't ever do like elaborate birthday parties. We don't have like an elaborate Christmas, or everything's very simple. But then we did start using the credit cards again for like the carpet, and then the lawnmower he got, and then the trailer that's almost paid off. Actually, I think that is paid off. And then it was just like fix-it things around the house, like some paint, from when we painted and did things like that. And then we had the plumbing accident. We got the stove, the refrigerator, the water heater. The refrigerator and stove were paid off. The water heater is almost paid off just because it broke. We had to get a new one. So like slowly, it didn't feel slowly. It felt very fast actually. We started getting into some debt again, and it freaks me out. I don't like to have debt. So when the plumbing incident happened, so far we're at like $2,300, and we had to use our emergency credit card and then half of some emergency cash that we had. And it was like, okay, you really need to start building up those funds. And I just started feeling really stressed and getting to where like freaking out if like Adam took Kennedy to McDonald's and like didn't just use a coupon and got her like chicken nuggets or something, or if he went to the gas station and got himself a drink. I was freaking out. Not freaking out like I'm yelling at everybody, but just like in my head freaking out. Like at Ammon Days, like we bought the tacos from the taco truck, and like we didn't even spend that much money, but we've been poor before, like where we've had to rely on family to help us, and the community helped us at one time, and I don't want to be back in that situation. I want to be able to give back, if that makes sense. I want to be able to help. I don't want people to just help us all the time. And so because we have some debt again, and then the plumbing thing, I was starting to get really like tight with the money. Like, we can't do this and we can't do that, and freaking out over like $1 here and $1 there. And I had to stop because that just makes it so much worse. I was making Adam upset. I was making myself upset. It was causing me unnecessary stress again. And then like, so in 2 weeks my hair started to fall out again. I felt like my Adderall wasn't even working. Like, I was lying awake at night just worried about money. Like, how can I make some more money? What can I do? What can I get rid of? And I just had to finally just stop and just pray about it and know that God has never failed our family before, and that I just need to stop worrying and put my total trust in Him that we will get through this hump, and that's life. Like, it's not perfect. We're never going to be millionaires. We're probably never going to be like well off even. We just have a very simple life, and He doesn't make much money, and that's the sacrifice that we do so that I can stay home to be with my kids right now. But I also don't want to start depriving them of things or having them get worried, because I was starting to kind of like not put it on the kids, but I was starting to worry in front of them. Like, oh, we don't have money for that. Like, we're going to have to wait. You might not get new shoes for school. I was like, okay, I got to stop doing that because they don't need to know that stuff. And my 3 older ones are working very hard to start purchasing their own things and trying to use their money wisely. I mean, Parker did buy himself a skateboard deck again. But they're also teenagers, and they need to use that money for fun stuff too. And I felt like I was taking away from that. This morning, my oldest daughter asked if I can get some supplies. She's like, "What? she said she didn't like the kind that we had because they were the generic kind, and she has a certain kind that she likes. But she said to me, I don't want you to have to spend the money on that because I need a certain kind. And it made me feel bad, like, like it's great that you're willing to pay for it, but I'm your mom, like, I don't mind going to get those kinds of things for you, and I'm very grateful that you have been helping. But I felt like she was saying that because she's been hearing me like worry about it. I've not complained, I've just been so racked with worry that I finally, last night when I was sleeping, I started to think, I gotta stop doing this. I met a girl at our church, and she's so adorable. She is from Russia, so she has this beautiful accent, and I'm not going to say her name on here because I don't know if she would like that. We met a few weeks ago. She's got an adorable daughter, and it's just a cute husband. They're just the cutest little family, and I adore her. And she watches my channel, and she was telling me I'm learning so much from your channel, and it kind of made me feel good at first, but then I kind of felt bad because I'm struggling. Like, my channel, I talk a lot about frugality and like simple living, and here I am, like, we're racking up credit cards again. And I just like to be honest, like, so I was telling her, I'm like, like, I struggle, like, I have, everybody has issues, and she's just so sweet and kind, and she's like, yes, like, we wouldn't be human if we didn't have something, everybody has something. She's like, but I just like your outlook on life and how bright and cheery your home is. And she's like, I'm like that too. I like colors and the brightness and rainbows. And she's like, I think we have a lot in common. She's like, sometimes you just have to look for the little things that bring you joy. And I was like, that is so true. And so last night when I couldn't sleep, I was thinking about what we were talking about. It was on text message, but I started to like listen in my head, just those little things that make you slow down in life. And even with financial worries, or if you're having marital issues, or your kids are causing drama, I mean, I've been there, done that with all of those things. I'm worried about extended family because I can't be there for them. Like, my mom is getting married and I can't go. Literally, we cannot go to her wedding, and it breaks my heart. My in-laws are renewing their vows for their 50th anniversary, and we can't go to that either. They're literally a month apart from each other, and we don't have the money, like, especially after the plumbing thing. So I was worried about everything, and I'm worried about my dad. His health isn't good right now, and I'm worried about my sister and my brother-in-law because they just sold their house and they're bought a trailer, and they're going to travel, but he's got to finish the work first, so they're living in somebody's pool house, and I haven't talked to her as much as I should because I've been busy, and so I feel guilty, and I said all this stuff, right? And so I was laying in bed last night, and I'm like praying, and I'm like, God, you've never let me down. And the times that I felt let down, I always feel like he's trying to tell me something. He's trying to teach me something. Like, hey, you're swimming through troubled waters because you're trying to handle all this stuff, whatever it is, by yourself, when I'm literally right here. I've never gone anywhere, and all you need to do is let me help you carry this burden. But I don't know, like, so many times I just get in that state of mind where I want to do it by myself, and I want to take all this worry, and I just drive myself crazy, and I drive my family crazy, and I don't want to do that. And so I thought, I'm going to listen to my friend, and I'm going to go over in my head, what are some of the things that, simple, everyday things that we take for granted that bring me happiness. And it was like weird things, like a cup of water, when I let the ice melt, but it doesn't all the way melt, and you get like the perfect texture of ice to chew. It tastes so good. Like, I'm probably weird and the only one to like have this, but I love that. I love that perfect texture of ice when the ice cube's not too big, but it's not too small, and it's not so hard that you feel like your teeth are breaking. Like, that brings me joy. Or on that line, when you're really, really thirsty and you finally get a drink of like cool water and it just tastes so good going down your throat, that brings me joy. When I was able to hang my laundry out on the line the other day and there was a breeze, it wasn't just hot. that brought me joy to be out there hanging my clothes. The wind kind of lifted my hair up off my neck, and it felt so good to just be outside hanging my laundry. It smelled good. Kennedy came out there laughing. That brings me joy. Our garden didn't do well this year, but I still get immense joy every time I walk out there and there's even one little cherry tomato or one little bell pepper, or I can pick some fresh mint. That brings me joy. My wildflowers bring me joy. Every time I see a new flower bloom, like I literally can just stand there and look at my flowers for hours and take pictures of them, and just to know that I grew those and how beautiful God's creation is, and just taking little seeds that turn into something so pretty brings me joy. Sometimes when my house gets messy, it gives me a lot of anxiety, but when I start cleaning and I get going and I have good music on and I get like this like rush of energy, that brings me joy. I actually start enjoying like the cleaning process of getting it done. It makes me want to do more. I love that. I love it when I tackle a project, like something needs to be organized and I'm like, oh, this is going to be terrible. But the same kind of thing, like I get into it and all of a sudden it seems like everything has a place and it's just going smoothly and things are fitting right where they need to go, and I'm able to get rid of stuff and purge things. That brings me happiness too. I love that feeling of something being neat and organized, even if it only lasts for a couple days, whether it's a drawer, a bookcase, a closet. I really like that feeling. The other day I went out there and cleaned out the garage for Adam because he has a really hard time like organizing things. So I just went out there and did it, and I was a big sweaty mess, but it felt so good to be active and to go out there and do that, and for him to come home and be like, wow, thank you so much. Like, you know, we can walk in here because our garage like gets messy really fast. It brings me joy when I get in moods where I want to cook. Like I cooked all last week, almost every night of the week except last night when we went out to dinner. I made a meal for my family, and that made me feel really good because it's been so hot. I have not wanted to be in the kitchen, and I'm not a person that typically enjoys to cook. It's not my thing. I don't think I'm very good at it. I just have to do it. But I just found all these new recipes from Julia Pacheco's channel, and they were easy and simple, and I had most of the stuff at home, which was saving me money, and that made me happy. And it was just nice to see most of my family enjoying the dinners that I didn't create them, the dinners that I made. That brought me happiness. Sometimes at night I'm so tired and just worn out. I come in here and I just want to color or read, and I'll go to lay down or something, and then the kids will start filtering in, and at first I'll feel like irritated, like, oh, I just want to be alone. But then, especially right now with my older ones, they'll come in here and they'll just sit on the bed and they'll just start talking to me about their day. And that, I'm like, I should never be irritated when, especially right now with the older ones, because it's not very often that they want to talk to their mom or tell me stuff. And so that brings me a lot of joy. Like I really had to shift my thinking, like, yeah, I'm tired, but they want to gossip, not gossip, but just tell me about stuff. And sometimes even like, because Tiffany always has a friend here. We have like these two girls that are at our house constantly. Like I think of them as daughters as well. And sometimes they'll just come in here and talk to me, and it's a good feeling that, you know, that they can come in here and tell me about the boys that they like or what's going on. Or Allie will come in and talk about work and who did what, and, you know, what kid did this and that, and, you know, she's thinking about taking classes at the junior college, and just to hear her plans, like she's starting to think about her future. That's like awesome to hear. She's going to be done with high school at the end of January, and the school she's at will pay for her to take college classes until June. So the only thing we're trying to get her to do is walk, like, because they do put on like a little graduation ceremony, but she's saying right now she doesn't want to because her friends will not be there, but we'll see. Anyway, that has been bringing me a lot of joy. They just come in here and they share with me. When I see Wesley and Jillian, that's my 11 and 12-year-old, these two do nothing but fight. I mean, it is like the cats and dogs. I mean, they're at each other's throats. I mean, they are downright mean to each other. But then there's those moments, they're kind of like twins. Like they can't stand each other, but they can't be without each other. Like, they're always together. There's those moments where they're just playing a game together or laughing at something, drawing together, and they're getting along, even if it's for 30 seconds. To see them both smiling, getting along, like, I love that. And I love that they can't be without each other. I love that each of them are worried without saying it. I know they are, because Wesley's going into junior high and Jillian still has one more year of elementary school, so this will be the first time that they're separated. And they don't say it out loud, but I know that they're worried about it. And I'm not saying that it brings me joy that they're worried about it, but it brings me joy that even though they act like they hate each other, like, they love each other so much. Same with all my kids. They all fight, they all irritate each other, but if somebody gets picked on or something happens, like, they're the first ones to have each other's back. Especially my son Parker. He is the most empathetic boy. This boy has just so much empathy for people. He's always the first one. Him and Kennedy are the first ones to know when I'm really upset. Like, he just knows. Like, he's mama's boy. Like, he knows. Like, he knows when to hug me and what to say to make me feel better. And that's pretty uncommon. I'm gonna cry. I'm always gonna cry on here. I think that's pretty uncommon for a boy who's almost 16. That he has that much compassion. And he has had some screw ups. Like, he's been in trouble, he got grounded, but when he gets in trouble, like, and he gets caught, like, I know he's genuinely, like, he really is sorry, even though he does it again. And that's just part of the ADHD. I'm not making excuses for him, it is real, the impulse thing. He is just genuinely sorry, and, like, I can tell that he does not like to hurt me or Adam. He doesn't like to do it. So I just was getting really down on myself about, like, even, like, with my kids, like, going back to that, there's the financial or marriage issues or your kids, and I felt like I was failing, because I'm like, borderline personality disorder, autism, and everybody has ADHD, and just PTSD, like tics, and what did I do? Like, where did I go wrong? Did I yell too much? Did I not give enough attention? And you start putting all this guilt on yourself. And lately I'm like, I don't think I did anything wrong. I think I'm a good mom. And it's showing, because they're growing and they're starting to spread their wings. And really mostly talking about the older ones right now. For a big example is Allie. Like, she's talking about being a teacher and teaching at a school, like, she's going to an alternative school where kids have problems, and her teachers have been so great. She feels like that's maybe something she would want to do to give back, is help other kids that have gone through stuff like that. I'm like, okay, I think me and Adam did a good job. And trust me, both of us have had very, very ugly parenting moments where it's one of those things where you were, like, in your head knowing, like, this is, shut up, like, stop screaming, stop cursing, just walk away, and it just keeps coming out. Like, been there so many times, too many times to count. But we're human, and kids are hard and teenagers are hard. And the money thing, going back to that, like, I just had to give it to God, because if Kennedy wants to have a 4-piece chicken nugget with her free french fry, we need to be careful with money, but $3, $4, whatever it is, like, to see her little face light up, and it's not like we do it all the time, it's okay. If Adam goes and gets a soda at Great Scott, it's one of those where you can mix the flavors. He works hard. He works incredibly hard with the injuries that he has sustained, and he should be able to have that soda, or to come home and have a beer sometimes after work and put his feet up. He does. I have a really good husband. Like, that brings me joy, because sometimes I take him for granted how good he is to me. Not many men he has raised Allie and Parker. Allie was, I think, 15 months when he met her, and Parker was basically a newborn when he met them. And we were just friends. We weren't dating yet or anything. It took a little while for us to realize that we liked each other that way. I think that's why we have such a good marriage, though, because we were friends for a really long time. Before I even had kids, we were friends. And he has a son from a previous marriage, my stepson Cole, who we got to talk to yesterday on FaceTime. But, that's, he was 30 when we got together, finally, actually got together, and he treats Allie and Parker like he's never treated them any different. And that brings me so much joy, because not a lot of men would do that. That's scary. 30 is still relatively young, and it's not like he had this huge career and made a ton of money. I mean, he still had to pay child support for his son, who he had shared custody with his ex-wife. And then I come into the picture with 2 little ones that both are still in diapers and formula, and I didn't know about WIC then, and just all these things. And he loved us. He loved us. He never even thought twice about it, ever. I remember the first time Allison called him Dad. I was like, oh no, I don't know what I said, but it was something along the lines of no, I didn't know if he'd be comfortable with that. And he was like, I don't care. She can call me Dad. And she never called him. She used to call him Mr. Adam when she first met him, because she talked really early. And after that, she's always called him Dad. And Parker, he's never called him anything but Dad. So, and then I got pregnant with Tiffany not long after we moved in together. So, I mean, it's a lot. He's had a lot of struggles with his health, and then the 2008 recession hit, and he lost his business and his truck, and we had to move in with my sister. I mean, that's a lot. He had to swallow a lot of pride to get that kind of help from my family and his family. I've lost my train of thought because they were knocking at my door. Okay, anyway. Oh, I was talking about Adam just swallowing his pride and having to really take help, moving in with my sister, and then going to school for five years to being an electrician, while working at the same time, and supporting us on hardly anything, and then journeying out, and finally electricians make really good money, especially in Northern California. He was making I think it was 53 or 54 an hour where we were at, and then 5 months later, getting hurt on the job, and it rendered his right hand pretty much useless at that time, and having to make the decision to uproot his family again. And we ended up here, and his hand's still not healed, and he just had another surgery to remove the cyst. They're saying it's stage 4 of rheumatoid arthritis, and they don't think it's linked to the injury on the other side of the hand, but I'm like, how can it not be related? It's so weird. And he's got that regional nerve something, I can't remember what it's called, where they're like, if we do surgery it might make it worse, and I have a feeling it's making it worse. It literally looks like the cyst is still there. His hand is still super swollen, and the doctor was like, why don't we put you on can they put you on light duty work? And he said, no, I can't do that, because that would drop me down to $11 an hour. I can't support my family, and even temporary disability would be the same thing. He's like, I can't support my family. And so the doctor's like, we really don't know what to do, because it's going to keep getting worse if you don't stop using it. But how does he stop using it? So it's just been crazy. And then he's got the foot issue too, happening from when he broke his foot, and that's not healed. So he's limping around, but he's working 10, 12-hour days, and I don't know how he does it. And then he still comes home and he doesn't complain. He takes the medicine that he has to take, and I can tell when he's in pain. It's hard for him to hide it because he hurts so bad, but he still helps with the kids, washing dishes, takes Kennedy to the pool because he knows I have anxiety about getting in the pool. I tried to be better about it this summer, but it's an issue. He's he's great, and that brings me joy. Like, no matter, I mean, we could have no money and be getting kicked out of our house, and he still just loves us so much unconditionally. And he would go pick up horse poop to make ends meet. That's just the kind of man he is. He took a job driving the bus when we moved here, making like $10 an hour, because that's the kind of man he is, and do whatever he has to do to support our family, because he also agrees that I need to be home for the kids. So reading brings me joy. Sometimes I'll find an author that I really like, and still like so impressed that Karen McQuestion sent me books and autographed them. So I'll find a book that I really like that I'll get really into, and I don't want to put it down, and I get sad when it ends. Like, I love that. That brings me so much joy. And reading is free. I mean, I had to get rid of my Kindle Unlimited. It wasn't expensive. It was $9.99 a month, and I had the first month free, but because we are trying to, you know, get rid of some things that aren't necessary, I did have to let that go. But I mean, my hands are feeling better. I have a doctor's appointment in September to get is that what it's called? The cortisone shots in my thumbs, so that should help. But yeah, reading brings me joy. Just picking up a coloring book and coloring when I have some free time, that makes me happy. Like, especially like when the coloring is like smooth, like when it colors smooth and you have like good ink, like. And I'm not like an artist or anything like that, but it just, I don't know, there's something about it that's very calming for me and relaxing. When I get mail, that brings me immense joy to read your guys' letters. I love it. I know I've been really bad about sending thank you cards and writing letters. It's been crazy. I promise I'm going to do that this week. I'm going to get those letters out. Praying. I always find so much peace. Like last night when I felt like God was speaking to me, like, listen to what your friend was saying and start going over in your head. Just everyday things. It could be the weirdest things that bring you happiness in your life, the things that we take for granted. Yeah, we had all those plumbing issues, right? And all this money got spent. But it happened where my husband was able to come home and deal with it, so that I didn't have to call all the plumbers and figure out the homeowner's insurance and all that stuff. So, I mean, that like made me happy, because that kind of stuff like I don't do good with. And the fact that, hey, we still have 2 working bathrooms. I mean, really 3. I mean, the toilet and the sink, only the shower doesn't work. So, I mean, there's people that have nothing, like that still have to go outside to use an outhouse. So I'm like, I am not going to complain about that. We still have running water and hot water. We have a beautiful yard for the kids to play in. We live in a great community where I feel the kids are safe to walk to the park, and they have all kinds of activities in our community. Sometimes it feels like we're living in a movie. That brings me joy. That first sip of coffee in the morning, especially when I'm really tired, just doesn't matter how hot it is outside, that first sip of coffee just makes me feel really happy inside. When I get the perfect brewed cup of tea, because sometimes I don't let it steep long enough because I get impatient, but when I have the patience and I brew that perfect cup of tea, just the right amount of honey in it or the right amount of my sugar that I like to use, tastes so good. When I have the time to actually sit down and enjoy my meal, that brings me joy. This is a weird one. When I actually eat all 3 meals a day and do my snacks, that makes me happy, because it makes me feel like I'm being healthy and I'm making good choices. Same thing when I say no to the soda, but at the same time, sometimes it's the same thing like coffee. When I have that first drink of like a Coke or something, or Pepsi, when it's really fizzy still, that makes me like crazy happy. Like, it's kind of weird. Journaling, doing my stickers, like all these things. And I know I made a video before with Money Mom about these things like relieve anxiety, but it's just not about relieving anxiety. It's just the little things I have in my life that are constant, that are always there, that bring me happiness, so that when I am totally stressed out and worried, I can think, okay, but I have all of these things, and a loving husband, and kids that love me, even if they won't admit it, and parents that love me, and a sister that loves me, and in-laws that love me and treat me like their daughter. And that's great. Like, it makes all those things like made me feel better. When I can keep a houseplant alive. I'm really bad about my houseplants. That makes me feel happy. When my house is clean, like when I come home to a clean house, like that makes me happy. When all the laundry's folded and put away, lighting a candle, just sitting down or just seeing the candle lit, like I'm so weird. Like I'll just watch the candle. Like it's just pretty. I don't know. Watching old movies, like the Audrey Hepburn movie. I love old movies. Casablanca, Breakfast at Tiffany's. That brings me joy. Watching comedians. I tried to find like clean comedians, but I do like Joe Coy. He's not clean, but he is really funny. Listening to John Mayer. I mean, that's just a given. I mean, that always makes me happy. I don't know, there's so much in life to be thankful for. It's they're starting a praise team at my church, and so we have our first official meeting on Wednesday to try to get it going. So I'm excited about that. 'Cause, I'll probably sing. So there's just so much in life to be grateful for. And as for the money, things are hard this month because we had a credit card. The whole thing got paid off. We meant to set up payments on it, and the whole thing got paid off. So it made us, we don't have anything right now because of it. That's why I've had to move things around, try to get the kids their shoes and stuff. But the silver lining is it's paid off. Don't have to worry about us. Now we have the Lowe's and the Home Depot we need to pay off, and then trailer's almost paid off, and the lawnmower. So I mean, it's not a ton of debt. I just don't like it, but it is what it is. And I do have to say that the credit card debt, all of it has been for the house. Even the trailer, that's been to when we haul the tree branches and stuff like that, because we can't finance a truck right now. It's been for the house. So we're putting money into the house, so if we decide to sell it, we'll profit from it. So it's not like we're using the credit cards to go on vacations, which we almost did, to go to the weddings. We almost did that. I'm glad we almost used that emergency credit card for that, because the other credit cards that we have are Lowe's and Home Depot, so we can't use it on stuff like that. So I'm glad we didn't, because it was used for our plumbing situation. We do have the Kohl's credit card. I know people are oh, you shouldn't use that, but we are careful with our Kohl's card. I get all the emails and stuff, so I only use it when I know I'm going to get Kohl's Cash. And that's the way to use their credit cards. I don't use it unless I know that they're doing Kohl's Cash, and you can get the 20% off, and sometimes they let you use it with coupons from your phone too, if you have the app. And so sometimes you can get stuff your bill will be $300, and after all that it drops down to $80 or $100, and then you can go back with the Kohl's Cash and basically get stuff for free. That is why I use the Kohl's credit card. So just thought I would share that with you. This was long-winded, and you guys are probably bored to death, but just think of stuff in your day if you're feeling overwhelmed. Sometimes even getting on my phone and looking at pictures of my kids or old videos from our channel make me happy, make me smile, and just knowing that I can trust 100% in God, that He's not going to fail our family, and that sometimes when things happen, He's trying to tell me something, and I need to listen to Him and get out my Bible and read more, pray more, so because He is never going to leave my side, and that worrying does nothing but cause more worry, more anxiety, more stress, and it starts affecting my family as well and my kids, and I don't want that. That's why I really had to stop and breathe and say no more. We're not like thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in debt. It will get paid off. It might not get all paid off till we get our tax return again. He has another settlement probably coming. Those things take so long. So, I mean, that doesn't mean because I know that that's coming that we're just going to go spend tons of money. I'm just saying that I know our credit cards will get paid off. I'm just kind of like doing the Dave Ramsey method. So I just wanted to be honest with you guys that it's not always frugal over here, and I make mistakes, and I have that really nice budget book that I haven't filled out since the last time I shared it, which was like months and months ago. We really do need to sit down and redo our budget though, like seriously, like we need to sit down and do that. We've been putting it off. That's it, I guess. I'm trying to think of other things I was thinking of last night. I like to wear earrings. Sometimes putting on jewelry makes me happy. I don't know. What are some of your guys' things that you wouldn't really normally think about? Kind of like the ice thing, like just weird things that just make you happy, that make your day just a little bit brighter when you're able to do them. Ooh, you know what makes me happy? Creamies. They didn't have them in California. They're like an ice cream. But they have a certain kind that's mint. I love mint ice cream. Mint chocolate chip ice cream is my absolute favorite. But they have a mint creamy, so it's mint ice cream, and then there's like chocolate coating around it, kind of like the chocolate vanilla bars that you get. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Like the popsicles that have the crunchy chocolate and then the vanilla ice cream. They're like that, but it's just one. They're not twin. It's just one. But the ice cream, like the cream, that's why they're called creamies, is because they're creamy. Like I'm addicted to them. They're so good, and that brings me like a lot of joy too. Creamies, John Mayer, the perfect ice. I don't know. I'm gonna end this. Chicken tendies, I'm so thankful for all you guys. Share down below in the comments. I love reading them, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.